Hello, hello. I always want to say good morning, but it is definitely not morning. And just to kind of tell you what happened, I had a whole presentation ready to rock and roll, and I was going to share it with you, and I deleted it. You know how you're supposed to hit save as you go along. Anyway, so I had asked a couple weeks ago, and feel free if anybody's out here live to jump into the Zoom. Um, there is a Zoom link listed in the events. And I will also flip into Facebook and just see if anybody is um, out here and wants to be invited in. The link is in the event, just in case, in the event that you want to join the event and come on live. Anyway, so I digress. We've all heard consistency is key. And while there is some truth to that, if you think about consistency, sometimes our consistency actually hurts us, right? And I think that's the actual reality is we have been consistent in so many of our habits that one day we just wake up and we're like, well, crap, I don't really like where things are, where they're headed, but I don't really know how to get myself out of this rut. I always like to say that your life 9 times out of 10 is not going to be consistent to begin with. So while you might be smooth sailing along and you're coming really close to hitting your targets and you're making progress towards reaching your goal, something might happen in your life that will really upend the progress that you've made, or it might just stall your progress. So just life examples. You might have a parent that is sick or passes away or needs your help. You might have a teenager or some other relative that just isn't mentally well. Could be anybody for that matter. You could be going through a divorce. You could lose your job. You could need to move cross country. So I always say consistency is really not very achievable. However, persistence is. And persistence in the meaning that you have actions that you do almost without thinking that push you towards your goals. When I was working with one of my coaches about a year and a half ago, I had gotten to beyond the goal that I had wanted to reach. And my coach had me just write down, well, what are all the things that you did to get you to this point? So that when there came a point in my life where I was stalling, where emotional things were starting to occur during my life, I would always have that checklist to go back to. And the honest to God's truth is, are you always going to be able to do everything on that checklist? Probably not. So I always go back to, okay, I'm just going to look 1 week into the future and see what is it that I can do that I know is going to push the needle towards my goals. As far as consistency is concerned, most often the habits that we currently have that are consistent are pretty much impulsive, right? We don't have to think about them, we just do them. So if you can think about your habits as the placeholders for consistency to make you more persistent, you being able to achieve your goals over the long term is going to be more likely than if you are just thinking in your head, okay, I'm not being consistent. What is it that I need to do? Actually sit down and figure out what are the things that are going to push that needle towards your goal. Make sure that you have an actionable plan in place where you are allowing yourself to persistently not consistently. So you're making an active, conscientious decision to do these things that you know are going to push the needle towards your goal. And again, it may not be that you can do 5 things, 10 things. You may only be able to do one thing over the course of that next week. But that one thing, if you schedule it and you actually, I like the, if you've ever heard of James Clear, Atomic Habits, I know I've spoken about that before. If you try to put that habit up against another habit that you're already consistent with, the chances of you being consistent in getting that habit done are going to be greater if you stack those habits versus just winging it and just saying, okay, for today, I'm going to track all of my food. And then you get to 5 o'clock in the evening and you've totally forgotten to hit your meals up to that point. And then you kind of forget. So what is a good habit to get into that is going to become something that you do every day as a habit versus trying to be consistent to set yourself up for success for that next day? I always suggest plan ahead of time. What is your food diary going to look like? What is your food going to look like the night before so that you're not stressing out or even just forgetting because things come up. Very easy to become consistent, but then it's also on the flip side, very easy to become inconsistent. So what are the habits that you're willing to formulate to create persistence versus consistency? Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. So if you think about it in this realm or in this way, consistency is an outcome, but persistency is actionable, operational things that you do on a day-to-day basis that is going to get you to hit your targets or persist to that goal. So think about just changing your language a little bit. Again, a great book that I can highly recommend, hands down, is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Super smart. You can actually buy the Cliff Note version of that, which might be helpful if you don't want to dive into the entire book because it's pretty thick. And I'm pretty sure he's even got some website materials out there that might be helpful. I'm just going to jump in and see if anybody has any questions out here in Facebook land, since nobody joined us live. So any questions about that? If you're not live, not a big deal. You can either type a question or a comment in the comments below, right in this Facebook Live. It should be saved for you to be able to refer back. I'm actually going to start creating a guides list. And then those of you that did not receive my PDF that I had on how to track your macros, or all about macros. I think it was called Macro Tracking 101 or something like that. Make sure you reach out to me. I know there were a few people that jumped into that thread quite late. So I'll have to see where I left off in emailing that out. Just a heads up, just remember that on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to be jumping on here live doing some value-added content. If you have any questions, if you need any information, just feel free to reach out to me personally, or just put in the comments below, like, what is something that you've been frustrated with? that's kind of what I'm looking to create the live videos, which is why today was about consistency, because a couple of people had asked, how do you remain consistent? So hopefully this helped, just so you know what are some of the things that I do consistently. Working out for me is just something that has always been on my calendar. Um, that is just part of what I do during the week. Um, and as far as my nutrition is concerned, right now I am currently not tracking my food, but I'm eating mostly anti-inflammatory foods. I just came off a week of fun with my three besties from back east. And we did try to eat not every meal out. We did go grocery shopping first thing when they arrived and stocked the refrigerator. But we did also enjoy ourselves. And, I always say, before you go on vacation, you make the decision. What are your goals at the end of that vacation? Do you want to lose? Do you want to maintain? What does that look like for you? And as long as you are taking the actions that align with your goals, then you're good to go. The problem becomes when we set ourselves up for failure, thinking, yeah, I'm going to maintain what I'm doing, and I'm just going to be super rigid, and then that doesn't happen because it's not super realistic. So just another little tidbit. But if there's anything that you are looking for more information on, or that you would think would be helpful for you to see me do a live on with regards to exercise, nutrition, sleep, stress management, how to get more steps in, whatever that may be, any kind of pains that you might be having during this time of perimenopause and menopause, just give me a shout. Also, please feel free to invite people like us that are approaching perimenopause. They might be already through menopause, but they might get some value out of the group. The more people that know what it is that I'm doing here, the more people that I can help, and the more lives hopefully I can change, especially during this time. I know how frustrating this time can be. I've been there, and I've been able to make some changes so that I can feel better. So anyway, hopefully that helps on consistency. Just remember, consistency is an outcome. Persistence is really an action that is going to get you to really make change that you are taking action upon on a daily basis, so that you can hit your goals and hopefully achieve feeling phenomenal through this turbulent time that we are in. So without further ado, I'm going to sign off here. Do let me know if you are watching this live or on the replay. Just drop me a hashtag live or a hashtag replay and let me know when you're out here, and we'll see you soon.